Hello, YouTubers. It's Mr. Zero of Mr. Zero's Terror Ride. Clown comic commentator on things. Uh, Scratching myself. I feel kind of necessary just to discuss this opinion, um, on something, this attitude that we have in America towards the poor, particularly the homeless, or not necessarily homeless. They're not always homeless, but beggars. Begging used to be a career. That was an option. You used to be able to be beggars. And what makes me bring this up is one of the guys working at Nightmare. He's a good guy. I'm not saying that he's not good, but this was his perspective. He was relating a story where he was like at a Denny's with some of the other cast members, and a guy comes up and says he's got a key. Says that his car is out of gas and he needs a couple bucks to buy some gasoline. And one of the other actors gave him, a couple bucks, like $2. And Miguel wanted to kind of show that this guy was lying. And so he sits there and says, "Hey, I'll buy you a full tank of gas. Let's go get your car and let's go." And the guy says, "Well, I don't trust you. I'm not comfortable with riding." And Miguel was like telling him, "Oh well, I'm LDS. You can trust me. I'm a good guy." And the guy says, "Well, I need to find a cigarette first." And so then he goes looking for a cigarette. Miguel says, "I've got things to do. I'll buy you a tank of gas. Just take me to your car." And it got really just crazy out of hand with this whole thing. He even drove him to a gas station and wouldn't leave. And it was all like Miguel was trying. He's telling the story. And he's like he was trying to make a huge moral point here. And to me and one of the other actors that was hearing the story, and we didn't say this to him, but we were talking amongst ourselves. And the I don't know, the point that Miguel wanted to make was that this guy was lying about the car. And I'm like, well, but that might be his thing in order to get the $2. He doesn't want to seem like an alcoholic or a drug addict or just a homeless person begging for change. That's his shtick, is to say that he's got, and I've seen that before, and I've always handed those guys a handful of change. It's no skin off my back. And that's what the other guy says, it's like Miguel wasted more time and gasoline trying to prove that the guy was lying than $2 that would have gotten him off the back. Or you could just ignore him. And that's to me that was the point of the story. That's like you really just don't want to hand over money to anyone for just any reason. And he capped the story with, "Look, I believe we need to help the poor and the blah blah blah, but you don't know what they are." And my opinion's always been, if someone comes up to me, whether they're not their story is real, I've done my part if I've given them my $2, which is usually my my tip to homeless people. It's a buck to $2. If they're begging on the street and I'm walking by, maybe a handful of change. It depends. I don't like not every one of them, just a handful of them usually, and usually it's the ones like by the freeway. I'll throw a couple bucks at, and they'll sit there and they're like, I'll hear like like, "Oh, I'll go get them a job." Well, homeless people may be homeless for other reasons than just not having money or not having a job. They might have like a mental disability that can keep them from that. And so many of these people that don't want to give money to the homeless in the first place don't want to support programs that would help them anyway. Um, I'm saying a lot with this, but another guy says, "Oh yeah, I offered one of those guys a sandwich and he didn't take it." And it's like, yeah, maybe getting food is not the guy's problem. Maybe he's looking for some shelter, or maybe he's just, maybe he doesn't want your sandwich because people poison sandwiches. I still remember in one of the Frumpy the Clown comics, he talks about how he's taking leftovers from their dinner and putting them in restaurant to go boxes. And they're like, "Well, why are you putting them in restaurant to go boxes?" Because homeless people won't just accept food that's given to them. They think it might be poisoned. And I think that's a valid point too. Money, even if it's poisoned money, they don't have to stick it in their mouth. If it's poisoned food, they might be nervous about that. They might be worried that they'll catch something. Who knows? I think that's a valid excuse. Plus, I've had homeless people say that their goal isn't just food, but they'd like to get a room for the night, maybe get a shower or something like that. Or you go to some of these places and like some of these shelters, and they charge money for a shower and some soap and all, a toothbrush. Maybe that's what they need. Maybe they need a toothbrush. Maybe they're like, I gotta take care of these a little bit better. They're falling out. You don't know. But as I said, I'll throw a couple bucks here and there at a homeless person when I see them because I'd like to think that if and when, you know, the economy's tanking, when I'm homeless, someone will give me a handout rather than being someone who's like, they're just going to spend it on beer. And that's not my call. Look, I get my paycheck for doing my job. It's what I do. It may be a hard job, it might be an easy job. Whatever anyone does, they get their paycheck, it's their business. When you're begging, that's like your job. You're out there begging. If you don't beg, you don't get your money. So you're out there begging, you get your money, blow it on what you want. I don't care. If I give money to a homeless guy and he collects like $50 and he wants to go get a chiropractic readjustment, that's his business. If he wants to go buy a 6-pack of beer, that's his business. More power to him. I did my part by sharing some of my good fortune with him. He's not having it. Give him a couple bucks. I think that's an attitude that more people need to take. We had two homeless people come to the haunted house, and it wasn't beneficial for them at all. They were out in front. I gave them $2. A few other people gave them $1 here and there. They didn't get much. The guy was in a wheelchair. I don't know if he needed the wheelchair, but he was in a wheelchair with a broken wheel. That to me was, go get a new wheelchair, dude. Wheelchairs are expensive too. They're like $160 for a crappy one. So there you go. I guess my main point is, don't brag about how stingy you are. Guy comes to you, says he's out of gas. May not entirely be true. So what? I had a guy that came to me like 3 times last Christmas, talking about him and his pregnant wife, and they were living in a tent and they needed money for propane to heat themselves. I don't know if any of that was true, but it doesn't matter. The guy came to me asking for money, and I gave him like $5 on one occasion, $7 on another occasion, $2 on another occasion. What I had, what I could spare. It was money that I could spare. All I would end up spending it on is energy drinks, soda, potato chips, candy bars. I mean, $2. What are you gonna do with $2? I know it could add up to a lot, but I mean, you know, whatever. And yeah, this other actor that I was talking with, he's from San Diego, and he says a lot of towns they ship their homeless to San Diego. So then, and there are a lot of them are like from, you know, mental institutions that get closed down, or shelters, halfway houses that get closed down. And where are they gonna go? What are they gonna do? They're stuck. And if they have a mental problem, you can't just hire them. And this was this side conversation. Actually, it was a three-person. There was another guy who was talking about it too. And that was our conversation while we're hearing my buddy Miguel's conversation about trying to prove a bum is lying to him. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Just me rambling on about the homeless.